Hi everyone. I just wanted to do a quick review of Woody Allen's autobiography, Apropos of Nothing. If you're a fan of Woody Allen, and I know everyone in this group is, this is a must-read. And I gotta say that I personally enjoyed reading the hard copy text. But he does do it in the audio version too, which I, highly recommend if you like hearing Woody Allen's voice. I mean, what could be better than listening to the entire autobiography read in Woody Allen's voice? I mean, he really takes you through everything, and it's really wonderful. From him growing up in New York, to pretty ordinary parents, and nothing too out of the extraordinary, the extremes, and the start of his career. He really has a natural talent for being funny, and he talks about that. How that's not something he necessarily loves doing. He didn't love doing stand-up comedy, but he was a great joke writer and a wonderful joke writer, and that's how he got into performing. And he talks about that. He talks about all of his movies, every single movie, and I think he's done about 50 now, from What's Up Pussycat, which he really did not like at all, to, the first one that he wrote and directed himself, Take the Money and Run, and, how he made the decision in 1969, after he wrote and directed that movie, that he was only going to write and direct his own movies, regardless of how much money they made. And Woody Allen is a real artist. He's a real artist who loves the craft of movie making, and he talks about that, how he really loves the process of actually making movies. He's a writer. He loves writing. He likes casting. He likes directing. Whether he's in the movies or not, he likes the process of it, as opposed to whether or not it does good or bad at the box office. And one of the interesting insights from the book that I got was how some of the movies that he thought were his best didn't get great reviews and didn't do well at the box office. I'm thinking of Stardust Memories and some of the other ones, but definitely Stardust Memories and Zelig. Those were two movies that didn't get great reviews, didn't do a lot of business, yet he thought they were phenomenal and some of his best work. And in more recent times, Match Point would be one of them. And he doesn't, even, and what's fascinating too is Manhattan, which, we all consider, anyone that's a fan of Woody Allen considers that a masterpiece, and I certainly do myself. He talks about how he didn't want it to even be released by United Artists. He was begging them not to release the movie, and yet it winds up being one of his best works. So it just goes to show you that Woody Allen, he's a real artist, and he doesn't care about, necessarily the whole, the reviews and the feedback and all the outside noise. He loves making movies, and he's done such a phenomenal job. And talks about his manager, Jack Rollins, and how long he was with him, and how he gave him the courage and the faith to keep going early on. And another big part of his book, besides going through every one of his movies and talking about all the wonderful actors and actresses he's worked with, he also discusses his relationships, and whether it's it was his brief marriage with his first wife, Harleen Rosen, and I'm not related, by the way, even though I'm a Josh Rosen, I'm no relation, to Louise Lasser and Diane Keaton, and of course other relationships like Mia Farrow. Now, I know that he didn't necessarily want to have to address the whole Mia Farrow allegations and stuff, but he did make it a rather large part of the second half of his book, and it's understandable. But for anyone that's on the fence about did he do this, did he not, and when you read it, it's very hard to come to the conclusion that Woody Allen isn't innocent. I mean, he really, really, goes into detail about how it was investigated, and, it's something that unfortunately he was scapegoated again recently for this, but he does discuss it at length in the book. So if you're interested, just for that, there's a lot of details in there. But besides his relationships, it really was a wonderful book into the insights of Woody and all the great things he's done. And you do get insights into his thought process. He loves Tennessee Williams and Eugene O'Neill, and I think he writes in a way where those guys definitely influenced him. Their views on life, and of course his love of Swedish films. Ingmar Bergman, huge fan, and all of his other interests. And he also talks about how he really does live a blue-collar middle class life. He's not part of that Hollywood elite. His favorite thing is writing and working. And he does it, not just because it's a distraction from facing the rather grim realities of life, but because he really enjoys, writing and directing and working. So, I'm looking forward to you guys reading the book if you haven't already, and his upcoming movie, Rifkin's Festival, and more work that he's got down the line. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I recommend the hard copy version as well as the audiobook, and that's all I got to say. Whatever works for you guys. Thank you.